What's up, everybody? Kevgret is back, and today I figured I'd bring my studio outside. It is so nice out here on the East Coast. New Jersey is about to get the beautiful springtime weather. It's going to be summer, and you know what? You've seen my dark, dingy arcade room. It is time we bring it outside. So I hope to make this a regular series, chatting outside with Kevgret. We're just going to take a topic, take a few minutes, and I want to get your thoughts. So, what do I have for today? Well, I was thinking about Pac Man, Space Invaders, asteroids, and I was wondering to myself, why are they so popular? Why are these the games that have stood the test of time to this day? For example, why is Dig Dug more beloved than Mr. Do? So, how do we even begin to analyze why some games are more popular or more beloved than others? We all know Pac Man is the king of maze chases, but there are dozens and dozens of Pac Man clones that play just as well, and in some cases, even better. So, why does Pac Man get all the glory? Well, I believe that there are some factors that we can look at to figure this out. The first factor I would like to discuss is the availability of lesser known games at my local arcade. When I was growing up, obviously I had no car because, the arcade games were the sweet spot. I was like 10 to 15. So I could not go to the mall or my bigger arcades. I was stuck in South Philly at my local walkable arcades. And the places that had arcades, there were these buildings that literally were small, could only hold a couple arcades. Doors weren't even labeled. You just walked in and there were people smoking, and it was like a forbidden area. And the problem with that was the games that they carried were only the popular ones. They only had Asteroids, Pac-Man, Space Invaders. So they only had the ones that the distributors told them were selling. So as a impressionable 10, 12, 13-year-old, I did not get exposed to the, different titles like a Mr. Do, like all these other games that I'm getting exposed to now as an adult. Um, there was one place in particular when I was growing up called Aunt Ray. And Aunt Ray, she had this little corner store that we would walk up to, and it would literally have room for four machines, two pinball and two arcades. And two of the pinballs that she had was High Speed and Pinbot. And to this day, I think High Speed and Pinbot are the greatest games that I've ever played as far as pinball goes. But my question is that because that's the only games I played? Or are they really good games? That's what I don't know. I think because I didn't get exposed to other games, I didn't have a chance to play other pinball games, and I played High Speed and Pinbot every day for like 6 months straight, as long as she had them. I now think those two games are the greatest. And I still don't know why we called her Aunt Ray. She was like a sweetheart to the neighborhood. All the neighborhood kids know and loved her, and it was a great experience to go to this little place every day after school. You go in there, you get your High Speed on. She had Yi Air Kung Fu, Karate Champ, but we were at the mercy of just the games that were there. Another factor in why more games are popular than others has to do with, in my opinion, our younger selves, and our younger selves being more impressionable, and playing the popular games leave an imprint on our lives. Why do you think Pac-Man releases so many Pac-Man variants? It's because Pac-Man is comfort food for most people's childhoods, and it brings them back to a feeling they had. It's To me, it's kind of like music you've heard on the radio when you were younger. I believe it leaves more of a mark on you, and that carries through for the rest of your life. I know people, for example, who absolutely love the Backstreet Boys, the same way that I know people that love Led Zeppelin. And the common theme amongst them is it's during their childhood era that they like that period of music. You know, so my question is: are the games that we consider beloved and amazing? Is it due to
the era that we grew up in, or again, are these really truly good games? If someone today plays Mr. Do for the first time, I I bet you they don't give it more than a cursory play if they weren't exposed to it during their childhood, because it doesn't have that comfort feeling. But if you really take the time to play and get into it, it's every bit as good as Dig Dug. And I bet you more people haven't played Mr. Do, and if they did and gave it some time, they would go, hey, this is every bit as good as the other games around that time. It's just because we didn't get to see it and we didn't get to play it as much. And I think another factor in why I think some arcade games are popular, it has to do with time. If you have 30 to 60 minutes to play some arcade games in your house or going out, which ones do you think you're going to gravitate to? Games you have no exposure to, or games that you've played and you're familiar with? I, like many other people out there, I own Pandora's boxes, I own coin ops, I own Super Console X's. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of games, but I gravitate every time I go into the game room to maybe the top 50 or so. And every once in a while, I'll give time to a game that I haven't played before, but I barely go out of the top 50. That is what is so good about something like the IA Arcade, because the IA Arcade makes you step out your comfort zone to play something you never was exposed to. I can see why people don't like the IA Arcade, because it's anti-comfort food. It sort of looks like something you've played before, but the games aren't necessarily what the majority have been exposed to. It doesn't give us and them and most people the same shot of nostalgia childhood that One Up does. Now, I know this doesn't apply to everyone, but I do think some of these factors do come into play on why some games are more beloved than others. Maybe I would encourage anyone who's watching to step outside your comfort zone. And if you have them in your arcade, you have a Super Console X, maybe just randomly put a game on. Maybe it's something you've never seen and you've never been exposed to. And maybe it's something that after you play for 10, 15 minutes, you'd be like, this is awesome. I've never been exposed to this before. It doesn't hurt, right? That's really all I wanted to talk about today. And this video actually was inspired. I got to give a shout out to Papa Brad's Gaming and Jeff Rainwater. I've seen some community posts by Papa and by Jeff about Mr. Do versus Dig Dug, Mr. Do versus Dig Dug. What is better, Mr. Do or Dig Dug? And it's like, when you think about it, they're both basically the same game. One, you're drilling, dirt and monsters. The other, you're getting fruit, but there's monsters as well. So there's very, small differences. But overall, it's the same strategy. But yet, in my opinion, most people absolutely love Dig Dug over Mr. Do. But, I actually played Mr. Do a little while ago, and I could not believe how awesome it was. I played it for almost an hour, and it's an arcade title that I played it on the consoles, but I never played the arcade version. And to play the arcade version, I was like, this is awesome. I can't believe as a child I never got to experience this, because my arcade, knowledge and experience was very limited and based on the availability and the distribution of the titles in my area. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I might be right, I might be wrong, but I hope this is something that you've enjoyed, and maybe it's something you can help me out and understand. Like, why do you think some titles are more popular than others? Is it due to what I mentioned, or do you have another factor on why Pac-Man is the king of mazes and Dig Dug is the king of diggers? Let me know. Did you even have the arcade exposure that I had when I was growing up, where every corner had this little store and you would just walk in and there would be 4 games there? Did you go to the city to play the games? I didn't really get to go to Chuck E. Cheese and other places. So that was my experience. So maybe that's why my opinions on why I think these games are more popular is being shaped. But I would love to hear what you have to say. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm out in my backyard. This weather is amazing today. I hope to bring more videos like this. I know my arcade room doesn't have great lighting, so can't complain about this. This is amazing. So I hope to bring you more videos like this, chatting outside with kevgret, and I will talk to everybody later. See ya.